Hey, welcome everybody. This is Uncle Dallas. How you doing? On today, we're going to stay on the particular subject of the presence of God. But I want you to understand the battle. We have TikTok here, we got Instagram here, we got Facebook here, and now we have YouTube. So let's get started. This will probably, like I said, be one of those teachings where I hope you're taking notes, man. I hope you're taking notes because it's going to be something that you want to see, that you want to really hear, and that you want to pay attention to. Let's make sure. Yeah, we got volume. Okay, let's go. Now, let's, before I start delving into that, I need you guys to pay attention to a couple of things. Number one, you have to realize that we are in a fight. We are in the fight. Now, in order for this fight to be profitable, it has to continue. In order for this fight to be profitable, it has to continue. So you were never designed, hear me guys, you were never designed to win the battle. Win the war. You were there to maintain the fight. I know that sounds crazy, but that's pretty much what's happening to you. You were designed to maintain the fight. That is why when you go to places and you say things and you deal with certain situations, those situations are placed in position so that you can maintain the fight. It is not created so you can win. It is not created so you can lose. It's created so you stay in the midst of the fight. Okay? That is why it's created. Now, I know a lot of us are not going to like that, but the key becomes, there is a key passage that I want you guys to look at. When I looked at this, it became something that transformed my life. I realized that in church, in religion, I am not designed to win the fight. That's not the thing. That's why we give certain mindsets and certain mentalities and certain thought processes so that we could actually be in position that the battle that the organization is fighting is the battle that we maintain. The battle that we're fighting, our personal battle, has to take a back seat. Now, how many times have you been in church when they said, well, you got to first take care of the household of God? The first thing you do is you got to take care of the household of God. And I know not a lot of you have heard that. Same situation when it comes to marriage. Marriage is a level of victory. So when you're not in that marriage, you maintain a fight. So I can't push to you ways to stay in the spirit. I can't give you total victory. I can't let you have full control of your ministry, your organization, your church, your life. You cannot have those things. You cannot have those things. And because if I give those things to you, then the organization that I have created and that I believe that's supposed to be here, we believe, and I say that we because I was a part of the organization for 30 years, we believe that it will crumble. Hear me very closely. A lot of the things that are in your life right now that are happening to you this very moment, those things are designed to keep you in bondage, to keep you under control, to keep you from moving forward. Why? Because organized religion is not designed to give you the ultimate access to God. Organized religion is not designed to give you ultimate access to God. The reason that organized religion is to control the amount of power that is released in your life and released to you. You got it? This is why, which is really crazy, the attack has to become against men. I know this will sound really strange. Y'all follow me now. The attack has to become against men because the discernment of men is structural. Okay? The discernment of a man is structural. A man can look at a bridge and go, man, that's going to fall. The structure is not solid. This is what God has done. The structure is not solid. And because the structure is not solid, the relationship is not solid, the movement is not solid. So when you see lots of men going, no, I don't want to go into that situation, I don't want to be a part of that situation, The challenge that happens is when you are not a part of that thing, what happens to most of us is we're put in a position where we are treated like we're nothing. We feel guilty. We feel like we're not doing anything. We're treated like we're second class citizens. Why? Because we are not following the flow. Now, church has a position, but if you are maintaining a position in church, if you're maintaining a position of argument in relationships, if you're maintaining any of these positions, you're putting yourself in a place where you are operating in a place of immaturity. Church allegiance is about immaturity, and it's not a bad thing, because there has to be a place where people can go in and say, I know, I understand, I like, I desire, and there has to be that place. And that place is church. Here's the challenge. When you go from church to Christianity, you go from a place of learning to a place of living. Now, Christianity is a maintained position. It's a position where you continually maintain these things. You stay in this position. You don't grow anymore. You have your obligation to church, obligation to your organization, obligation to your what's it called? Your obligation to your organization. You have your obligation to your ministry. You have all these obligations. Why? Because they are to teach you how to be spiritual, but they're not designed to teach you how to be spiritual anymore. They're designed to teach you how to have allegiance toward the organization. You follow me? You have to be a good deacon. You got to be a good usher. You got to be a good armor bearer. You have to be all these things. And when you become all those things, you put yourself in a position where your growth and your allegiance are attached to the growth of the organization. Are you following me? Here's what that looks like. But you find yourself not falling into the position of seeing God for who he is. You see God in the reflection of someone that is placed above you and looking down at you. That's why I said that we'll see the Old Testament. He sits high and he looks low. Why? Because I'm in a way conditioning you to see me as one that sits high, that is above you, and looks low, which means you're below me. That is by design. And the reason it's by design, for those of you that are in the mentoring course, we're going to get a little deeper in that. For those of you that are part of my mentoring class, we're going to get deeper in that, because I'm going to actually teach you the structure of church, the one that they designed and the one that God said, this is not what I want, but that's what we are attending right now. All of us are attending it, and we've all attended it. But because I went to a bad college does not mean I'm not going to get a good job. Because you've done something that seems like it's not the greatest thing in the world doesn't mean that you can't do great things in the spiritual realm. Does that make sense? Okay. So within that, the way to transition out of that and get into the presence of God is you have to detach yourself from the things that are giving you the attachment to carnal. I talked the other day about the carnal man is enmity to God, which means it is not an enemy of God, because an enemy seeks to destroy. It is it's enmity to God, which seeks to muzzle and to replace. I wrote that one down. I'll deal with that a little bit later. So that's why when the scripture says in James, submit yourselves to God and resist the devil, it's saying submit yourself to God, which means set up, I wrote this down, set up against this thing. Now, I need you to hear me. I'm not saying set up against the Bible. I'm not saying set up against the people. I'm saying set up against the structural position that you're in that does not give you access to the next level of God. When people come to me and they say to me, okay, I'm over church. I don't want to go to church anymore. Or I'm not, my favorite line is, I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. Well, here's something you have to realize. Everything that you have in your life is set up according to two positions: the position of labor and the position of religion. Those are two things that you have right now. The position of labor says you qualify for things because you work in the flesh. I lift weights, I get muscles. I work a long time, I get to retire. You qualify for things in the flesh. The spiritual thing, the religion is your moral compass determines your growth. Your moral compass determines your growth. So if I work hard and I'm a good person, I get a reward. The challenge that happens is you've never been determined. There's never a definition of you being a good person. It's a person that says, I do what I'm told to do. I hear people say to me all the time, well, the Bible justifies slavery. And I got that. I understand that. But the very foundation of what you've been taught as a human being determines that there is one culture that is greater than another culture. But I don't see you battling that. There's a supreme culture. When you go to church, when you go to work, when you go, all those things, you never think about the fact that you have the power to become whatever you want to become. But the culture as a whole has kept you in servitude and kept you religious so that you can in turn be controlled. Does that make sense? So they said, well, and I said, that's the key. The key becomes you are powerless to do anything about anything that's happening to you, because when you use the same weapons that they've given you, they've already increased and created another weapon. When you use the weapons that were given to you, the weapons that were given to you are controlled by the people that gave you the weapon. So when I say the weapons of your warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God through the pulling down of strongholds, those weapons are even. No one can give you that weapon. That's a weapon that you access because you stay in the presence of God. When someone says, well, you need to speak affirmations and say them every day and all those kind of things, they're giving you a weapon that they have established and said, this is the necessary weapon for you to have what we think you should have. Y'all got that? So you have to maintain a battle. You got to always be in a challenge. You got to always be in the battle. That's why credit scores are become important. Having a house is the American dream. Being married is, all these things are situations where they've been presented to you. And because they've been presented to you in such a way, you believe that religion has given you these opportunities. But what you have to understand, and I need you to understand this if you don't understand anything else I say today, what is offered to you is according to the power that you have. So now I've got to tell you that greater is he that's within you than he that's within the world. When you realize that, I now have to put you in a position where you take that greatness and attach it to what I feel you should battle. So I'll teach you, and this has happened in churches all over the world, I'll teach you that greater is he that's in me than he that's within the world. Then I say, well, what you have to do is make sure you pay your tithes. You got to make sure that the household of God is taken care of. You got to make sure all these things. So now you have this great power that's not attached to you moving closer to God. It's attached to you, or it is given to you so you can now make the organization seem better. Does that make sense? So now what does that do for you? What that does for you is now your qualifiers are now the qualifiers of the ability to fulfill your religion. Your qualifiers are your ability to fulfill your religion. So you got to be a good Catholic. I'm a good Catholic. Okay. I'm a good Church of God in Christ. Can't join in, you got to be born in. I'm a good Baptist. And so what happens is now you establish your identity not for the presence of God, but for the presence of the organization. And what happens in the organization, those things that happen within the organizations are controlled by the leader of the organization. And so that means that you now have to live, move, and have your being according to someone that is running the organization. When the organization is supposed to be funneled by the Spirit. This is why Jesus said, I only do that I see my Father do. This is why Jesus made all these different comments and said all these different things, because what he was saying to you is he is not telling you to serve him. He's telling you to be in the position where he can allow you to solo. Check this out. The Gospel according to John, the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. John, the 16th chapter, the final book. If you're starting the New Testament, it's the fourth book in the New Testament. And it says this, and I need you guys to hear me because I need you to understand something here. Let's see, we'll start. Okay, yeah. But verse 4. But these things I've told you, when the time shall come, ye may remember them that I told them to you. And these things I said unto you in the beginning, because I wanted you to know where they were from. But check this out right here. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, except it is expedient for you that I go away. It's at verse 7. I'm sorry. It's John 16:7. Now, nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It's expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send it unto you. He said, if I go away, there comes a Comforter. Now, if I break something, if I change this whole process, you have to realize you are not attached to Jesus as a subordinate. You're attached to Jesus for his servitude to your life. I know a lot of you are not going to like that. It's okay. I'm not here to fight you. But a lot of you don't understand that Christ is not here so you can say in the name of Jesus and use his power to handle your situations. What he's saying to you is there is a comforter. That means this comforter is the mindset, the thought process. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this right now. It's the mindset. It's the thought process. It's all the things that make Christ who he was, not Jesus, Christ. And that's why he said they say Jesus the Christ. You follow me? He's all the things that make him who he is. Okay. That make him who he is. And so what I want you to understand, I'm going to show you this, those people that are on YouTube, I'm going to show you guys something. Let me show you something. What you have to understand is when he said the Comforter was coming, he was saying that in the way to let you know that what's now you listen to from the outside will now resonate on the inside. I got to get you to hear that. What comes to you from the outside will now resonate on the inside. Okay? Good. What comes to you on the outside will now resonate on the inside. I need you to pay attention to that. Now I'm going to show you something here. Most of the people that you are dealing with right now want to stay on the inside, on the outside. They don't want to really get into the face of God. They don't want to go into the face of God. So what they do is they stay in a position where 14? No, I was in John 16. They stay in a place where they are dependent on someone else to allow them to grow. Okay, got it. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna show you guys this I'm gonna show this to you on my computer. If you're on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about. They want you to depend on someone else to make your world grow. You follow me? Okay, so does that move? That when I move, that move just like that? Yeah, okay, good. So now you depend on that. And so now you look at the fact that it's here. You go to this passage right here and you hit this right here. And I'm going to show you something. Now, yeah, this is perfect. Got it. Now, check this out. For those of you that are watching YouTube, and I'll explain it to you to you guys that are not watching YouTube. Now, watch this. Okay, so if you look at this passage right here, this is the definition of the word comforter. Okay, this is the definition of the word comforter. If you look at another form of that, it's the same word. It said, "My little children, these things I write unto you, that you sin not. And if any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father in Jesus Christ's righteousness." So that's the same passage in 1 John, the 2nd chapter and the 1st verse. But I want you to see this right here. We said, now it says comforter. Look at all this thing. It says summoned, called one aside, called one aside, one who pleads another cause, because a judge, a pleader, a counselor, defender, legal assistant, advocate, a legal assistant advocate. So when he says, I have to leave and I leave you with a comforter, what he leaves you with, and this is what's going to be really spiritual, because I hear people talk about, well, does it praying in tongues and not praying in tongues, praying in the spirit and not praying in the spirit, all these different things. And like I said, I can't really get deep into them right now, because if I get deep into them right now, I'll make this go a lot further and a lot longer than it actually needs to go. What he's saying is, everything you've learned, everything that has happened in your life, those things are empowering you to have access to the Spirit. But if your dependency if your dependency is on man, on an organization, on religion, on any of these things, you are not going to get to the highest point. He says, I have to leave. I've got to let you solo. I've got to let you move to a different level, because if I don't, you will never see the spiritual connection that you have between God and you. I have to move. Now, let's go to the 12th chapter. Let's take that to the 12th chapter and the 24th verse. The 12th chapter and the 24th verse. Now, check this out. I want y'all to see this. The 12th chapter and the 24th verse says, Verily, verily, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it shall abide alone. But if it dies, it bring forth much fruit. Now, jump back to 14. The Christ, not Jesus, Christ had to now shift from a carnal mindset to a spiritual mindset. So he says, now I have to go. The Jesus part of this thing has to go. Because if the Jesus part goes away, then the spiritual part is at your total access. If you get away from trying to walk around and be Jesus or be like Jesus and realize that you're more like God, if you realize you're more like God than you are like Jesus. Jesus came to this earth to die for access. We memorialize him, we appreciate him, we glorify him. But he did not come to this church, he did not come to this organization, he did not come to this planet, for those of you that even believe he was even a man came from God, so for you to serve him. That is not the purpose. Now, everybody else, it's okay. So what happens is, if I need to control you, he's saying, I must die. But if I die, what I taught you will bring forth much fruit. Why are you broke? Why are your relationships crazy? Why? All these things are set to the point because what you have been living is a divine organization that has kept you in a position where you fight our battles and let your battles suffer. And if you come to us wanting to fight your own battles, we go meet with the organization or the board to determine whether we want to help you or not. Now, I don't have a problem with that. But the key becomes, if you have to go to somebody else to determine whether you're helping me, why do I have to trust you in helping me? I mean, helping you. If why do I have to trust you? No, I don't dislike you. I'm not mad at you. But the bottom line is, if I have to trust you for what you tell me, and you never tell me how to get to the next level, you just tell me how to maintain this pulse. Why do I have to trust you? But if I say to you, listen, we are suffering. We need some money to help us get over this hump. You look at me and said, let me go see what the organization says. What happened to all the money that was placed around? What happened to all the things that you said, save and say, give and give? What about that system that you set into place that you said I'm supposed to honor and you're not honoring? I was asked to start a church. A friend of mine asked me to start a church. And when the friend asked me to start a church, he said, how are you going to start a church? I said, number one, I'm going to empower the people to live their lives and take care of their lives. I'm going to believe for a building that is about me taking care of it and not a building that is dependent on the people taking care of it. That's how this was supposed to be set up. If the people could not come together and say, this is what we want to do and this is where we want to be, then I've picked it and I'm making you follow it. See, the presence of God means you've got to get beyond these things that are stopping you from moving forward. And I said, what happens is we have been dumbed down. I need y'all to hear me. Now, everybody going, oh, Jesus, oh my God, this man really talking, they're really teaching the word. Here is what you have to understand. And this is the part that's not going to be good. So put your big boy underwear on and your big girl panties on. You have been taught to live the life of a pauper, a broke person. Right now, you have a poverty spirit that is attached to you. That's why you're looking around your house and going, why haven't I gotten it built? Why hasn't my ship come in? Why hasn't God changed this? Why hasn't this situation changed? You are sitting living like someone that has been left by God. You are living like someone that has been left by God. And the problem that you have right now is once you set and move from spirituality, there are two levels of this thing. You're either in intelligence or instinct. So that's what God breathed into Adam. He breathed the breath of life. He breathed intelligence, meaning he can discern right and wrong. He can move left and right. He can understand things. You are now been put into instinct. And what instinct does, hear me, pay attention, pay close attention. It'll be on the video. This is why God had me put this on video. What happens to you is you will maintain a view of the presence of God, but you will never walk in the presence of God. You will maintain a view of the presence of God, but you will never walk in the presence of God. Why? Because our job was never to give you access to God. It was to keep you in servitude to Jesus, which means that the more I showed you, the more you realize I'm just a terrible person. At no point do you realize that you have now transitioned into a place where you now are sitting in heavenly places. So here's what happens to you. All the things in your life have now become moments and reasons for you to be here. Your money. You don't think about money as a tool. You think about money as a way. Oh, okay. You think about money as a way to control. You follow me? So right now, hear me now. I'm not telling you to get rid of all your money. That's not what I'm saying. Your money is placed in a position where it's connected to God. God, I need y'all to hear me. And I don't have anything. Okay. The presence of God is unlimited. The presence of God is unlimited. I don't know. And I saw him out here. There he is. There's a friend of mine named Mr. Focus. Y'all looking at me. He's on there. Mr. Focus is the jumper. Now, what do I mean by that? He's a water walker. He's a friend of mine. Mr. Focus goes, let's go do this now. So he starts looking for how to get it done. How many of you, opportunities present themselves? And when the opportunity presents themselves, you think about it, you pray about it, you simmer over it, you do all those kind of things. That is that mindset that you've been taught in religion. My sister and I talked about this big thing. I started investigating when she said it. Why? Because you have been taught about a limited God. So when this gentleman tells me, he told me about for those of you that were with me last week, he tells me about these different things to place. He said, go get you some XRP, go get you some stocks. I don't know anything about stocks and XRP. I don't know anything about that stuff. So I go out and do it. But I didn't do it at the fact that I know that God got me. I did it at the fact that my mind can understand it and conceive it. You are now been conditioned to be a servant and to be broke. Why? Because you are in a battle between, is your mind right? Is your spirit right? Is my wife right? Is my husband right? You are in that place where you're looking for spiritual access in carnal methods. There is a line, and I don't know if I wrote this line down. And the line was this. He said, you're looking for movement in the future from information in the past. You are looking to move to your future. Right now, if there are parts of you that are going, oh man, you got to watch that stuff. You got to be very careful about that stuff. I found myself dealing with it the other day. Why? Because it's so grooved and deep inside of you that you now have laws, rules, and regulations in your life that are not spiritual. And I can share some with you. I can share some with you right now. Credit. Everybody on this call, everybody, hey, welcome guys. My name is William Dallas. I'm glad you stopped by. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're growing this channel because we want to change the world, move you from Christianity to spirituality. Everybody on here is trying to build their credit up. I taught, so I know. Everybody's trying to build their credit up. The reason everybody's building their credit up because they told you in order to get a house, in order to get a car, in order to get anything, you need good credit. They call it moving you more to good credit because if they you move you to credit, then they can put penalties on you. They can put pressure on you. Hebrews, the 12th chapter, in the first verse, he can put weights on you. So while you're working on your credit, nothing wrong with that. Please hear me. While you're working on your credit, what they're doing is working on their lineage. They're working on generational wealth. Why? Because you're going, okay, I'm going to get this off my credit. I'm going to do this on my credit. I'm going to do this on my credit. You're working on all these things. While you're working on the things that control you, everybody else is working on how to come together and purchase things. Everybody else is saying, how do we come together and learn about how to build something? So now your credit is some type of badge of honor because you have an 800 credit score or a 700 credit score, but you have no idea what to do with it because you're still a broke person, not just broke physically, spiritually, emotionally. You're still a broke person with the power of credit. I can go deeper. So you've been to church 15,000 times. You know the Bible back and forth. You know it cover to cover, but your life is still in shambles. You're not at the next level. Things aren't happening in your spiritual life. Why? Because you're now a person with knowledge of the Bible, but not how to use it. See, because you were taught that knowledge of the Bible made you better than everybody else. So now you walk around with your Bible tight in your arms and you walk into church and you wear your little collar because you want everybody to know that I've ascended above them and your life is in shambles. Because you've not been taught how to grow. You've been taught how to live a religious life at a point where you're not growing as long as you maintain my battle. So because you maintain my battle, I give you a little badge. I give you a little contract. You are now a minister of the gospel. You've just given your control over to man and taken it away from God. Why? Because that's how you are conditioned. That is how you are trained. Right now, if you sit for the next 7 days and begin to sacrifice the urges that you have to move into areas that you feel are areas to move into, you'll see God move. Right now, everything I do, I got to go this and I do this and I do this and I got to go this and I got to go this. I'm talking to my wife the other day and I said to my wife, I said, you know, there's certain things I can't tell you. My wife is in the military. And I don't know, I've never been military. I don't know what's secret, top secret. I don't know none of that stuff. I know there's certain things she don't come home and tell me. But I had to realize when you understand this system, you understand how to get free of this system. When I got to this thing, I came here and the Lord spoke to me. I want you to start a church. I thought he wanted me to start a building and I don't know that he doesn't, but he told me to make two. So I went from 127 followers on TikTok to 169,000 followers in less than 30 days. Didn't do all the tricks TikTok told you to do. Didn't do all that stuff. Made one comment. God blessed that comment. And not only did he bless the comment, the person that helped me with the comment, they're not at 169,000. I am. So I began to utilize that. Now, why was I like that? Because at the moment that God speaks, you have the liberty to live the life that he gave you. The moment he speaks. This is why I say, if God says something to you, do it. Don't hold the destination accountable. Hold the origination accountable. Let me say that again. Don't hold the destination accountable. Hold the origination accountable. Now, why do I say that? Someone sent you send some brand new shoes to your girlfriend. Okay. Your shoe. These are brand new shoes. They've never been out of the box. They're on her feet. They're her size. They fit her feet. You send them to her. Don't hold her accountable for receiving the shoes. Hold God accountable for giving you the heart to give. We had this thing switch, and we've had it switch for a long time, because one says, I trust the person I did it for, and the other says, I trust God. Most of you are sitting now waiting to go to church, waiting to go whether I should go to church or not. Should I be a good person or not? When the power to be a good person is the person that operates in the spirit. You have to get to the spiritual realm of your life. Once you get to that spiritual realm, you've got to detach yourself from urges that draw you to a lower level of your life. Why? That's what pastors are supposed to do. But what we do is keep you under control. Why? I just got a big old building that was never the building that you were supposed to be a part of. I got a building because God told me to get a building. And what I'm supposed to do is hold you accountable for the building. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Now, follow me closely. Do y'all really want to go deep in this? Do you really want to go deep in this? Here's the thing that's going to take you deeper. There is nothing wrong with Pastor such and such by getting a building and saying, we're going to get a building. There's nothing wrong with that. The moment it becomes wrong is the moment that I hold you accountable with laws and principles that are not God so that I can pay for this building. I put you in allegiance to an organization that does not determine whether I grow closer to God, determines whether I'm going to be good to the organization. The moment I tell you that tithing will keep you either cursed or blessed. The moment I tell you that because you don't go to church, that God is holding you accountable. The moment I lace that within when I lace that within all of my teaching to the point that I'm unconsciously putting you in a place of condemnation because you are not doing what I've told you to do. To the moment that I am nothing more than a con man and a man that is swindling your emotions so that I can make sure that what I've decided to do is being correctly taken care of, and you do what you want to do. And I just tell you, hey, you just believe God. But I don't believe God. I don't believe God because what I've done is told you, hey, why weren't you at church last week? To the point that I have people calling you to make sure you should be at church. Not are you okay? I don't have them calling you going, hey, Brother Dallas, what's the challenge? Well, I had some challenges with my situation. Well, we're going to pray for you. No, I wasn't calling for that. I was calling to make sure you weren't at church. Instead of calling, listen, what's going on, Brother Dallas? Well, my car broke down. Hold on just a second. The organization has a mechanic within there. Where is your car right now? My car is in such and such. Okay, my mechanic will be over at your car in about an hour. Don't worry about it. The church will take care of it. We don't do that. We leave the pastor to be supplied by the people, and we have to go to God. We leave you to be servitude to me, and I send you to God. And then if you don't believe at the level that I think you should believe, I then tell you, bro, you need to pray more. When I have the power at my access. Well, what happens if I have to help everybody? Bro, let me help you out with this. There is no way possible in any organization that you will have to help everybody. The key is, if you are a pastor and you are a leader, you need to hear me right now. The challenge that you have is you, pastor, apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher, you have fostered through what you were taught, what I was taught, you fostered children. And the only reason the children are going to move is if the daddy tells them they have the right to move. When you begin to let people mature and begin to teach them how to grow their organization, how to grow their lives, then you have to hold them accountable for the growth. Right now, you hold them accountable for growth, but you've never taught them how to grow. Even the Bible says, train a child up in the way he should go, and when he is old, he won't depart from it. So now they need to stand up in the spirit. They're not spiritually minded. You think your Bible study does it. You think prayer does it. No, revelation comes from experience and application. That's how revelation comes. Experience and application. So I have to give you an application that will help you to experience the spiritual realm. If I don't give you an application and you don't experience it, you simply are basing your life on knowledge, which is knowledge that comes from me. So now knowledge becomes something greater because I now have knowledge, and that makes me better than you. Why? Because you've never taken experience, and you've never had experience and application. But if I give you an application, my mentoring class, I say, guys, pray for 7 days. I know some of them hadn't prayed. I know that. But the application is pray for 7 days. I get testimonies every day. Uncle Dallas, you have changed my life. Why? Because you got to come out of carnal and get into spiritual. You got to come out of mortality and get into immortality. We haven't gone to the point where we now come together one. I need you to pray for you. Why? Because you have been part of a corporate movement for so long that your individual movement has not moved. So I need you to be selfish. I need you to pray about you, your foe, and no more. I need you to get out of this moral compass that was given to you that has absolutely nothing to do with the spirit, because the spirit is not about a moral compass. The spirit is about obedience, period. We will do things because we will judge them according to a moral compass and not judge them according to the obedience of the spirit. That's why I say money, because you would go, oh, well, I got it. No. Did I say no? Okay. Did I say no? Okay. Stop setting common sense in area where their spiritual sense should be. Stop putting common sense in area where spiritual sense should be. There is no such thing as common sense in the mind of a spiritual person. The reason it's common sense is because it commonly happens and you expect it to happen again. Stop. Now, why am I saying that? We have to uproot all this mess. We got to uproot the fact that somebody said, oh, I see a calling. You got a calling on your life. We got to uproot that. We got to uproot the fact that said, oh, well, your ship about to come in. I see you're being about to be blessed. We got to uproot that. We got to uproot making sure that we hear God, even though we listen to the leader. It's okay to listen to the leader, but if you're not listening to God, you're listening to the leader more than God. He's not doing you any good. If you're listening to Uncle Dallas more than you are praying, you're not going to see what Uncle Dallas says. It's not going to happen. Why? I need you supernatural. Why do I need you supernatural? There's a wealth shift, there's a spiritual shift, and there's a truth shift that's coming on this planet. Wealth, spirituality, and truth that's happening on this planet. If you are not spiritually discerned, you will be fooled. Right now, they can put a hologram over the ocean and say Jesus is coming, and y'all see the hologram, and most of y'all will think Jesus is coming, you'll swim your way to it. But spiritual people will go, wait a minute, nah, bruh, ain't nothing in my spirit, because they'll understand that Christ will not be seen. If he's going to return, he's not going to be seen. If Christ is going to return, and I believe it like everybody else, if he's going to return, he is not going to be seen. It says in a twinkling of an eye, all of this will happen. If you're looking over the ocean and you see something rise up over the ocean that looks like Jesus, or you see something that rise up over the ocean that looks like an alien, your spirit would have already been connected. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because right now we can be deceived. Why? We base all of our understanding, all of our belief, all of our things on what a man told us from a pulpit, because he sits higher than us and he has 5 degrees, and not on a man that is sitting on the situation. Oh, he got a blue sign on going, go get it for yourself. We have to stop being in position where other people operate in our power. We have to operate in our power ourselves. My biggest battle right now, and I was afraid to say this because my biggest battle right now is finances. You know why my battle is finances? My battle is finances because I have to be strong enough to say when God says ask, ask. When God says don't ask, don't ask. When God says go, go. I'm learning that mindset. I thank God that he has people around me that pray for me. I thank God your biggest challenge is the same thing. Your challenge is understanding that finances are only as strong as the leverage that they cause. Check this out. Follow me here. If there was some way you knew somebody that had $10,000, just 10. If there was somebody that knew $10,000, you take your $10,000, you call up Will. Or now I'm saying that because everybody knows him. You call up my friend Will and you say, Will, I got $10,000 right now in this market. Will say, okay, go buy $5,000 worth of that and $5,000 worth of that and sit on it. Don't touch it. Pretty much in the next 3 to 6 months, that $5,000 that you put in those two different places will either go up to be $10,000 per, which means 20, pull your 5 out, give the person back the 10, or it's going to do better than that. But here's the kick. Money has become a controlling factor in your life. So what you've done is you're now putting yourself in a position where money controls you, and God goes, don't let that control you. Use it for what it's worth. That's why people, if I say right now, do this, no, you don't understand. It has to die. Except a seed go in the ground and die, it must abide alone. Why? Because you're still in the struggle. Now, some of you shouldn't spend $10,000 for nothing. I know that. Same situation. I can flip it. It's all right. Y'all ready? Let's not talk about money. Some of you are living in neighborhoods and you're not even believing God to come out the neighborhood. Some of you are living in relationships and you're not even married because you're still waiting for him to. All of these things are the same thing, sweetheart. Bruh, it's the same thing. Because you haven't been taught how to maintain the presence of God in your life. You've not been taught how to operate in a powerful state. And I'm going to have to keep teaching this because it weaves into so many different areas of your life. It will blow your mind. If God told you right now to go to a restaurant and that restaurant is above your ability to pay, I'm not going there. You just stop that. God tells you to go learn scuba diving. I'm not doing that. God told you to go tell somebody I love you. Just say, hey, praise the Lord. I'm not doing that. That is how strong your power is. The simplest thing. That's what's happening to a lot of you. God is putting you in the simplest positions and saying, how do you handle that position? The simplest position. Now, some simple are higher and some simple is lower. The simplest positions and how do you handle that? I told everybody who was here, I said I went to a restaurant and when we went to the restaurant, they took care of the whole meal. I told you, every day God does something. Every day he does it because I'm looking for God to move. Every day. Well, how do I get God to move? Stay in a prayerful place. In a prayerful place. Stay in a prayerful place. Don't go into a place where you're always worried. Listen. And I'm going to say this to you like this. It's going to take you a minute to get out of this place. It's going to take all of us a minute to get out of this place. But every day, grow a little bit more. Do something different. Pray a little bit longer. Read a passage. Put yourself in a position where you are moving forward. Don't go to church, but don't sit and do nothing. Don't go to church. Read the Bible. Go for a walk. Go pay attention to the tree. And now this all sounds crazy. Go pay attention to the trees. Go in the park. Walk in the mall. Sit in the mall and watch the people go by. Begin to understand that your environment is more controlled by you than circumstances and situations. Go have breakfast. Go to one of your favorite breakfast points. You ain't got to spend a lot of money. Go have breakfast. Go to lunch. Call a friend you've never called in a long time. Change the norm. Change the mediocrity. And begin to put yourself in a position where I trust God. Put yourself in a position where I trust God. And when you put yourself in a position where you trust God, God will always show up, people. He will always show up. He will always show up. I'm going to say this, and because I don't have the 5,000 people I have on now, I got about 3,000. It's okay. I'm going to say this. What I had to realize was, if I don't put myself in a position where God can use me for the good of the people around me, my life is wasted. And he shifted me from a situation where I could make, money was almost on call. I could make a phone call and get money, to a position where I have to now trust him. Yeah, I know most of you think I'm running around with millions and millions of dollars, but I'm running around with more trust than I've ever had before in my life. And it becomes difficult for me because I was able to do whatever I wanted to do. My sister Portia, she's on here. My sister Portia said, you need to charge for this and charge for this, and you have good information. And so I'm like, okay, I need to do that, but I have to stay in prayer, because there are things that God doesn't tell me to charge for. That's why I do the mentoring class. The mentoring class will give you deep information that will transcend your life, and you don't have to pay a dime for it. The belief that I was given is, you pray, and whatever he tells you to do, that's what you do. Why? Then it's not an obligation on me to make sure that I do something specific for you. It's on God. Guy made me a suit years ago. Now, when he made one, I told him to make me two. When I go to pick the suits up, he said $450. I'm like, I thought you said you make the suit. He said, the suit God told me to make, I made. And he said, the suit God told me to make, God's paying for it. The suit you told me to make, you pay for. And so now I'm living the life that I'm trying to get you guys to see. I'm living that life. I'm living that life. It's a daily prayer. It's a daily sacrifice. It's a daily, no, I'm not suffering by any stretch of the imagination do I suffer. But what I've learned to do is to put things in proper perspective. If I put things in proper perspective, what I've learned to do is put myself in a position where God can answer any question that he wants to, and he can do it the way he wants to do it. You need to take the class. You need to take the class. You need to take the course. Some of you need to break this barrier of the spirit, because some of you have things around you. Matter of fact, this past class, God allowed me to see some stuff in people's lives, and I told them what I saw, and people were like, wow, they didn't want to get off the phone then. Now, I do carry the mantle of a prophet. I always have. That don't mean I'm going to use it. I use it when he tells me to use it. Because I know there's some of you right now that are going, God, I need you to move in the morning. I need you to move tomorrow. And that's why you're here. That's why it's not 100,000 people here like it is normally. Because you need to hear what I'm saying. Stop letting the hindrances of your mind stop the movement of your spirit. Stop letting the hindrances of your mind move. Stop letting the hindrances of your mind stop the movement of your spirit. And you do it all the time. I do it. I do it. This morning, I battled to want to get on YouTube. I'm like, I don't want to get on YouTube. And I said, you know what? We're going to do it. I tried to change the picture. I tried to do everything else. Because here's something I need you guys to understand. You ready? I need you to understand this. Your mind is so powerful that if given the right information, it could change your life. The reason your mind has not changed the life is because you're looking from carnal information, because you have carnal power. Right now, where's my little thing? Here it is. Oh, I'm glad I finally found one prop. This is a hand. This is a hand grip. You put your hand here and you do this. This little knob right here, you twist this knob, and if you can't see it, there are numbers here. The more you twist the knob, the harder the pressure is. And I sometimes sit and do this. When I shake people's hands, I'm able to hold their hands a lot tighter than most. But that is carnal power. That's nothing going to make. All carnal power is to cause competition. But if I shake a person's hand and the power of my spirit connects to the power of his spirit, I don't have to squeeze. It'll choke. It'll jolt his person. You are watching people that are living according to carnal knowledge, and that carnal knowledge is what's determining the movement of your life. You're feeling guilty. You're feeling scared. You feel all those things because you base your life on carnal logic, carnal information, carnal movement. Stop. Do something to put yourself out there. Do something to put yourself out there. Don't, if you do something, Don't worry about how it's going to come out. Just do it. And God always shows up. He always shows up. All right. All right, guys. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, this is the end of this. My name is William Dallas, and this is Higher Standards International, or they call me Uncle Dallas. This is there for you. Everybody on YouTube, again, subscribe, like, follow, hit that little bell so that you can hear anytime that I come up. We're going for 1,000 people. 1,000 people. We're almost there. So if you have not subscribed, subscribe. If you've not shared this video, share this video with somebody. Let them know that there is something greater in their lives and they need to watch these videos. There is not a person that I have met that watches those videos and their life hasn't been changed. If you're not a part of the mentoring group, go down to the chat and say, look, I want to be a mentor. I want to be a part of the mentoring group. I want to be a part of everything that's happening in this organization. And so what I need to do is send me the link so that I can be a part of it. And for those of you that are part of mentoring group, I just figured out I can put the information on an app so you have it at your phone all the time. Yay. Yay, 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 yay. So I don't have to worry about putting it through this and put it through this and put it through this. All you have to do is check the app information. I can send directly to you and you can see that information. And I am really excited about it. I got to work on it because it's just me. Yes. I had a young lady call me the other day and she said, when we come, for those of you that are married, I'm doing a couples conference in January. She said, when we come to the couples conference, we're not leaving. I said, what do you mean? She said, we're going to come there and help you build this organization. So we're going to move to where you are. And I'm like, really? And I'm just really appreciative of that. And it just blows my mind. But if you are a part of this thing, make sure you follow, like, subscribe. We're here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That is our YouTube days. Otherwise, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We're always around to share information because the better you grow, the stronger you grow, then the more people around you can grow. You have to realize you are a conduit. You are the strength. You are the power. You are everything that God has on this earth that can change this earth. And so I'm here to share you. So share it with you. So, all right, guys, my name is William Dallas, and this is the Higher Standards International organizational thing. You know, we do this long line. And if you're going to live a life, you might as well live it at a higher standard. And let us help you live that. All right. Love you guys.